Green Bay Packers, gentlemen, were one of the big mysteries of the NFL last year, how the offense went from potentially historically great to legitimately subpar for long stretches last year. Now some good stuff cooking with the Packers. Jared Cook, they just signed the tight end from St. Louis. Maybe he can get some of his mojo back. Jordy Nelson, healthy, back from the ACL. You assume he'll be that guy. Eddie Lacy, we saw the pictures floating around the old internet.
Looking hot.
Looking, well, trim, and maybe back to his old self. Here's the question. Can the Green Bay offense return to juggernaut status in 2016? Chris Wesley.
I think so. I think this was a multi-position issue last year, starting with wide receivers and tight ends that were the slowest group in the NFL. Next-gen stats bear that out. We saw that throughout the season. The offensive line was injured and couldn't protect Aaron Rodgers. He didn't trust his offensive line. And I think you'll see he's the best quarterback in the NFL. Jordy Nelson's a top 5 wide receiver. Jared Cook adds a speed element. And Eddie Lacy's a top 5 running back when he's in shape.
Well, that's a big when, and there's a lot of ifs in there. But Cook is a good signing because now they're not forced to draft a tight end in the first or second round. He'll wind up looking better. And if they have a problem in terms of their skill position talent, I mean, what kind of teams wouldn't be happy with Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, and let's throw Jeff Janis in the mix there at wide receiver with a great quarterback making them all better?
Maybe Jeff Janis after building on how last year ended. And then Randall Cobb. Don't forget about Cobb. I remember at the Combine, Mike McCarthy saying how beat up Randall Cobb was this year. You never saw him close to 100%. You get him back to his old ways, and he's also playing in position. I have a feeling we're talking a 500-point team, and they're back all the way. I'd be surprised if they weren't.
Well, if Aaron Rodgers is an all-time great, which I think we all think he's one of those, he's not going to be happy with last season because that was about as down a year as their offense has ever had with him, and he's going to want to bounce back.
So what's the negative? Let's spin critical. How could things not get better?
Well, I think the question marks. Jordy Nelson has to come back just as strong. He was a top 5 receiver, like we
Needs
said.
that speed.
He has to come back. He was great after the catch. He was great on the boundaries. Eddie Lacy, is he going to be at 225, 235 instead of 260? That's a big if. And Jared Cook, Greg has mentioned this before, sabotaged the Rams' offense at times. He's not a guy who's always
a lot of mental errors. He's going to drive them a little crazy, I feel like.
Let's talk about that a little bit, Greg. People are going to look at Jared Cook as a Pro Bowl or potentially playing with Aaron Rodgers, but you hated him.
No, that's not true.
Hated him.
He's a productive player who clearly has
personal
measurables, but dropped passes, mental errors, just plays that would drive you crazy, penalties, like he did it all.
Former Making the Leap candidate.
No Jared Cook, I don't believe ever.
Maybe not. Look it up if you're curious. Check out the Around the NFL podcast 3 times a week.